Hello, everyone. This is Mary, and welcome back to Better English. The end of the year is always a special moment, not because we have to reinvent ourselves, but because it gives us a quiet space to pause, reflect, and ask one simple question: what should I invest more in next year? And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about your time, your energy, your attention, and even your emotions. In this episode, I want to share 11 things I believe are truly worth investing more in for 2026. Not to live faster, not to chase flashy success, but to live more grounded, more intentional, and more at peace. This is not a checklist you must follow. You don't need to do all 11 things. If just one or two ideas resonate with you, that's more than enough. So, if you can, grab a piece of paper, or simply slow down and listen. Because sometimes, a small investment decision today can quietly change the way you live an entire year ahead. The second thing I truly believe is worth investing more in for 2026 is your physical health. Not to achieve a perfect body, not to follow fitness trends or social media standards, but to have a body strong enough to support the life you want to live. We often tell ourselves, "I'll work out when I have more time. I'll sleep better when life gets less busy." But the truth is, when you're healthier, you naturally have more energy for everything else. Investing in your body doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's simply about moving consistently, even gently, getting enough sleep at regular hours, eating simply but mindfully, and listening to your body instead of constantly pushing it. In 2026, I want to place health before productivity. Because when your body is exhausted, even your biggest dreams can start to feel heavy. A healthy body doesn't slow you down. It allows you to go further and stay there longer. The first thing I want to talk about is not money. It's your investment mindset. Before asking, "What should I buy?" ask a deeper question. Where does my energy go every single day? Because no matter how much money you make, if most of your energy is spent on unnecessary worries, comparing yourself to others, relationships that drain you, or constant negative information, that is a very poor investment. Sometimes, the smartest investment is simply knowing when to stop. Stop giving time to things that don't serve your long-term growth. Stop spending emotional energy on what you cannot control. In 2026, I truly believe one of the most valuable skills is the ability to choose wisely. Choose what you consume. Choose who you spend time with. Choose where your attention goes. Your energy is limited, and where you place it daily will shape the person you slowly become. The third investment many people underestimate is sleep and recovery. We live in a culture that glorifies being busy. Sleeping less is often seen as discipline. Rest is sometimes mistaken for laziness. But the truth is, without recovery, there is no sustainable growth. Sleep isn't just about physical rest. It's when your brain organizes information, your emotions reset, your body repairs itself. When you're sleep-deprived, even self-improvement becomes exhausting. Investing in sleep doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's simply about going to bed 30 minutes earlier, reducing screen time before sleep, creating a calm, comfortable sleeping environment, allowing yourself to rest without guilt. In 2026, I want to see rest not as a reward after everything is done, but as part of a long-term life strategy. When you're well-rested, you think more clearly, respond more calmly, and make better decisions. The next investment I believe will become incredibly valuable in 2026 is the ability to focus. We live in a very noisy world. Not just external noise, but mental noise. Constant notifications, endless comparisons, too much information, too fast. And over time, we become comfortable with being distracted. Investing in focus doesn't mean doing more. It means doing less with intention. Sometimes it looks like spending time without touching your phone, doing one thing fully without multitasking, allowing silence without trying to fill it. Silence helps you hear your own thoughts, what truly matters, and what is simply noise. In 2026, I want to invest more in quiet moments, not to escape the world, but to reconnect with myself. Because when you can focus deeply, you don't just work better, you live with more clarity. The next thing I want to invest in for 2026 is learning, but not in the traditional sense. Not learning just to collect certificates, not learning to prove that I'm better than others, but learning to understand myself more deeply, understand the world more clearly, and make wiser decisions. I believe that in the future, the advantage won't belong to those who know the most, but to those who learn quickly, deeply, and reflect thoughtfully. Learning without reflection keeps knowledge on the surface. But when you pause and ask, what does this teach me? How does this relate to my life? How can I apply it? That's when knowledge becomes yours. In 2026, I want to invest in slow, meaningful reading, skills that sharpen thinking, writing my thoughts down instead of scrolling past them. You don't need to learn everything at once. What matters is learning with awareness. Because when you learn to understand, you don't just upgrade your mind, you upgrade the way you live. In 2026, I want to invest less in quantity and more in the quality of my relationships. Not everyone who enters your life needs to stay forever. And not every relationship deserves your energy. When we're younger, we often believe that knowing more people means a richer life. But as I've grown, I've learned something different. A few deep, safe, and honest connections are more than enough. Quality relationships are those where you can be yourself. You don't have to perform to be accepted. You feel heard, not judged. And you're willing to listen as well. In 2026, I want to invest my time in nurturing the healthy relationships I already have, setting clear boundaries with those that drain me, and learning to communicate with honesty and calmness. A good relationship doesn't make your life more complicated. It makes you feel more at peace. And peace is always a long-term investment. One of the most important investments I want to make in 2026 is silence. In a world that is constantly noisy, full of notifications, messages, opinions, and expectations, spending time alone is not avoidance. It's a way of coming back to yourself. I've noticed that without quiet space, it's easy to live by other people's rhythms, to make rushed decisions, to get emotionally pulled in too many directions, and slowly, to lose touch with your inner voice. Investing in silence doesn't mean meditating for hours or disconnecting from the world completely. Sometimes it's simply not checking your phone first thing in the morning, taking a slow walk without listening to anything, sitting quietly and writing down what's on your mind. In 2026, I want to create more space to listen to myself again. Because when you're quiet enough, you begin to recognize what truly matters. And when you know what matters, life naturally feels lighter. One investment that many people often overlook is emotional health. We talk a lot about physical health. We talk about success, productivity, discipline. But we rarely stop to ask, how am I actually feeling? Emotional health isn't about being positive all the time. It's the ability to recognize your emotions, accept them without judgment, and protect yourself when needed. This is where personal boundaries become essential. In 2026, I want to invest more in saying no when necessary, not over-explaining my choices, not trying to please everyone. Boundaries don't make you cold. They help you stay true to yourself. Without boundaries, it's easy to absorb other people's emotions, to feel drained, to carry guilt that was never yours. Investing in emotional health means learning to live gently but firmly. Because when you're stable on the inside, the outside world loses its power to shake you. Another important investment I want to make in 2026 is simplicity in my living space. The way you live each day directly affects the way you think. A cluttered space often creates a cluttered mind. I've learned that I don't need more things. I need fewer things with more meaning. Investing in simplicity doesn't mean living with less joy or denying yourself beauty. It means keeping what truly serves you, letting go of what drains your energy, creating a space that feels calm when you come home. In 2026, I want to declutter with intention, choose quality over quantity, and let my home reflect who I'm becoming. Your living space is not just a place to stay. It's where you rest, where you recover, and where you gather energy for the outside world. When your space becomes simpler, your mind feels lighter. And when your mind is lighter, life becomes much easier to breathe in. The final investment, and the most important one in 2026, is investing in yourself. Not the flashy version, but your long-term self. I no longer want to improve just to be admired. I want to grow so I can live a grounded, peaceful, and meaningful life. Investing in yourself doesn't always show results immediately. It often looks quiet. Choosing rest even when work isn't finished. Saying no to what no longer fits. Being patient with your own growth. Your long-term self doesn't need to be perfect. It only needs clarity about direction and kindness toward itself along the way. In 2026, I'm not chasing the best version in others' eyes. I'm choosing to become the most sustainable version of myself. Because when you invest wisely in who you are, every other investment naturally falls into place. These 11 investments are not meant to be done all at once. Choose one or two that truly matter to you in 2026. Start slowly. Start honestly. Life doesn't need more. It needs what's right. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for investing in yourself.